This happened many years ago. I was 8 or so at that time, and every day I would walk home from my elementary school. My house was a few miles down the road, so my mother thought it would be safe enough for me to walk by myself. It was a few months into the school year when it started happening. A beat-up looking Toyota would slow down enough for a couple of white guys that looked like they were in their mid to late 20s to follow me and yell insults at me. I was chubby back then, so they would call me fat and much more hurtful things. I'll always remember the driver. He looked to be the oldest of the bunch, with greasy blonde hair hanging down and partially covering his pimped scarred face. They would follow me until I reached the gas station that was halfway along my journey home. Then they would speed off laughing loudly. For the first couple of weeks I didn't tell anyone, thinking they would get tired of it. They didn't. A full month passed before I told my mother about it. She, of course, was rightly concerned about me and asked me how long it's been going on for. When I told her a month, she grew even more concerned. Her being a single mom, she couldn't pick me up from school because she was at work all day. So her solution was to send my older brother to meet me halfway, thinking this would scare them. Well, it didn't. Another 4 months went by with them continuing to follow me and throw insults at me. Then suddenly it stopped. A whole month went by without them driving by, and we thought everything was safe again. We were wrong. Suddenly, out of the blue, I saw the old beat-up Toyota heading down the road towards me. Only the driver was in the car this time. He slowed down the car, flung open the passenger seat, and proceeded to yell for me to get into the car. I was so scared I couldn't even speak. I just shook my head and tried to walk faster. He continued to follow me, demanding that I get into his car. I'll never forget the look on his face as he yelled at me. It was so full of rage. We finally got to the gas station and I made a break for it. I ran inside the gas station and up to the gas station attendant. I told him what was happening and he let me hide behind the counter. The driver pulled into the gas station, hopped out of the car and came in. He demanded that the gas station attendant tell him where I was, claiming I was his daughter and I had jumped out of the car. The gas station attendant glanced down at me and I shook my head wildly, mouthing that I did not know this man. The gas station attendant said he didn't know what he was talking about and that he had to leave the store immediately. The driver began to yell wildly and started walking around the store looking for me. The gas station attendant said he was going to call the police if the man didn't leave. The man turned to him and said something I'll never forget. "I'll get that bitch one way or another." The driver stormed out of the gas station and left. I sat there on the floor crying for what felt like hours. The gas station attendant called the police and had them come over. When the police arrived, the attendant told them what had happened. A police officer knelt down beside me and asked me my side of the story. I told the officer everything, how him and a couple of others have been following me for months, how they would follow me and insult me, how they suddenly stopped and how he tried to get me into his car. I don't remember much afterwards other than them calling my mother and her meeting at our house. They took my mother's statement and then left. After that, my mother changed her work hours in order to come get me every day. For years, I lived in fear that that man with the greasy hair and pimple-scarred face would eventually get me. So, to the men who followed me for months, insulting me and eventually trying to get me into his car, I'm not that scared little girl anymore. We better never meet.